So to begin, I wondered if you could explain as best you can what currently is happening to the Uyghur Muslim population in China.
The information that we are getting is not it really is very patchy because of the circumstances in China, and indeed the sort of credibility of some of the sort of institutions who are bringing the information out. What we are definitely are certain is that there is a coordinated, systematic policy going on in China in sort of they call it re-educating, what is quite clearly has got elements, clear elements of brainwashing and trying to actually sort of social engineer the Uyghur Muslim community from what they are into something else, and is not concentrating on criminality. It is very widespread and is affecting people of all different ages, genders, and background. And it seems to be, as I said, very systematic.
Could you explain some of the types of treatment that the Uyghurs undergo?
Yes, they are taken away from their environment and put in these sort of what China calls them education centers. They are extremely cramped. They are put in halls that is not even possible to sleep. Everyone together, so they actually have to take shifts because it's so cramped. One toilet for the whole room, and they are subjected to loud videos, propaganda material, and they are subjected to sort of beating and sleep deprivation, and even forcibly being forced to eat and drink things which are unlawful from Islamic point of view. And there are also some evidence of systematic rape and sexual harassment. What is not really very clear is the extent of it. We hear from certain sources that we are talking about millions and millions, which this is sort of calculated based on satellite images of the centers and what the capacity is. But we also know that these are not all full capacity. And the fact of the matter is we are certain that is systematic, but we are not certain of the sort of the level and the extent of how many people are being put through these centers.
So a new UK legal opinion published about China's activities in Xinjiang deemed there's actually a credible case for genocide. Rahima Mahmood, the UK director of the World Uyghur Congress, stated this is a landmark moment for Uyghurs. She said, the finding is clear. There is an intent to destroy Uyghurs. Why do you think that these atrocities are happening to the Uyghur Muslims in China?
We are, as an organization, are involved in addressing many issues of abuses and Islamophobic sort of initiated or Islamophobic concept being unleashed, be it in Myanmar or in Kashmir or in what is happening to Uyghurs. And indeed, sometimes, even places like Yemen and so forth. There is a problem globally. I will bring even West into this category. What is happening in Britain and France and so forth vis-a-vis prevent of extremism, targeting the whole of the Muslim community and their children and everything, and watching them, the idea that they're either terrorists or possible terrorists, it's been sort of exported out of these areas and becomes international. Then, what is happening in China, unfortunately, is not that much different. In the essence, and what is motivated, what arguments are being used. The arguments are being used is that they're doing it because they want to stop extremism and terrorism, Daesh, etc., etc. And they're actually seeing this a problem between the Muslims and Islam. And so therefore they justify behaving this way and social engineering changing. I'm not suggesting similar tactics, but the same ideology is being used in Britain and France, and even in sort of India and in Myanmar. When you look at the arguments, listen to the arguments, you actually identify they're all coming from the same source. And they end up justifying behaving in different standards, which are not all the same, but nevertheless, the ideology is the same thing. That is really what we need to stop. We need to sort of say, yes, there are elements in any society which are unlawful and criminal, and need to whole nation with a whole lot of people and everyone who's happened to be Muslim and so forth. It really is outrageous, is counterproductive, and it will not resolve the problem. It will create more problem. So we need to make China understand that its behavior in that region is going to create a cancerous problem for itself, and it's not going to bring any solution.
Judging that it's really an international issue, what do you think should be the practical response from countries like the UK and other countries across the world? Do you think that the attitudes need to change first, but then what practically can be done by the government?
We need to, as an international community, deal with it with a certain standards and the way forward. We need to actually address these issues as they deserve to be challenged, all of them with the same standard. Secondly, a powerful government like China needs to be dealt with in a different way. We need to be very clear. We need to be very honest. We need to be very even controversial. But our intention should be actually for some change and make them understand that that is not going to bring any benefit. I think that sort of honest discussion needs to be taking place. And to my knowledge, that honest discussion is not taking place, neither by friends or foes of China. And I think that's the sort of discussion that both friends and foes of China need to have it urgently.
So just finally, you've spoken a bit about the government in China, but I wondered what you thought about the alleged role the president of China is playing in the persecution of millions of Muslims, not just Uyghurs, but other ethnic groups as well.
Yeah, I think China has been a sort of anti-religion sort of has had an anti-religion policy for a very long time and seen it as a unacceptable sort of principle. But others in China is completely different to what is happening to the Uyghurs. And to some extent, that has been justified or promoted or exaggerated or realized because of the fact that the Uighur Muslims are asking for independence. And that has been an excuse that the Chinese have used. Certain section of Chinese policymakers have promoted that this needs to be treated in this way. I think in this time, I think probably the sort of the emphasis will be falling mostly on the shoulders of friends of China in Middle East, in Africa and elsewhere. They need to be honest friends, and they need to actually speak about these realities with China, because that is a reality that if this is not resolved, not only it will be horrifying for the Uyghurs, and it will be continuation of a sort of genocidal act and gross human rights abuses for the Uyghurs, but it will be counterproductive, and it will eventually result in China paying a high price for this. And the problem is this, that it could be one community today and another community tomorrow, and we need to tackle it. But I think for the students' point of view, we need to find a solution. We are not interested in finding a mistake to beat China or anyone else. We need to find solution, and I think the solution in China is to be firm. I'm not saying that we should not be firm with China. We need to be firm, but we need to also highlight how damaging this is going to be for China itself.